Hey guys, welcome back. This is episode 3 of the 1023 Soul Shop Talk podcast. Maybe I'll change that name. I don't know. Anyway, sorry I've been absent for a little bit. It's been a while since I posted up. A couple things. Our first episode got deleted. Uh, Also, in the midst of a computer swap, we had a lot of stuff going on and changing things up, and I lost our entire audio file. So I don't have episode 1 anymore. I don't even have the ability to repost it because it is gone from our cloud. I messed up when I posted it and I put a time limit on it. Didn't really know what I was doing. Wasn't that important anyway, but episode 2 is still there. This is episode 3. It's going to be pretty long. Anyway, as you know, we're not a sponsored podcast. So at some point in the future, we may do sponsorships. I don't really know. I don't really care. We don't do this to make money off of it. We do this because I really like diesels. But if you want to spend money, 1023s.com is our store. If you have a 7.3 or a 6 liter, or really anything, I suppose, but that's all I really know about. Our guys in the shop can help you with other stuff. We've got a really cool program where you can go on to our website. If you're on mobile, just hit the little hamburger in the top left corner. If you're on a computer, it's just right on the main navigation menu. And it says plan your build. If you click on that, there's a form you can fill out. And that form will ask you about your truck. Lots of just good detailed questions about what you're looking to do with it, what you have done with it now. Fill that out, hit submit, and then call it or schedule a call. It redirects you to a call scheduling page. And you and I will sit down and have a one-on-one talk. It's about 30 minutes about your truck, planning the build out, making sure that you don't waste money and no money gets spent, parts don't get bought that aren't going to fit well with your future. So if you have any interest in that, especially if you have a 7.3, feel free to fill that out. Today's episode is with Mario G of Night Shift Diesel, and I am really, really, really excited for this. I've known Mario for, I guess it's probably going on 2 years, 3 years now, and I've tuned all of their trucks. I tuned his specific truck. He's got a triple turbo 7.3 that they built in house, and it is really freaking cool. And he's going to talk about that. He's also going to talk about his journey from childhood, growing up with cars, having a love for engines, and how that led into, and where they now own a shop, and they pretty much just exclusively build pretty badass trucks. That's about all they do. Like, I don't think they turn anything out of their shop that makes less than 500 or 600 horsepower. Most of it quite a bit more. So you'll get to hear from them here in just a couple minutes, and I am really, really excited for you to hear this. One more thing I'll throw out there, and then you can get back to the good stuff. We have a new email address. It's media@1023diesel.com. So if you want to be on the podcast, or if you have any requests for what you want us to talk about on the podcast, just send an email there, media@1023diesel.com, and I will happily look it over, and we'll see about fulfilling a request or getting you on here. But appreciate you guys listening. Share it if you know how to share it. I don't know how to do that, but this will be on all the podcast platforms and also be on YouTube. Here's Mario G. How did you get started in diesel? And I'm not asking that because I want the answer of, like everybody asks. Did you always have a passion for cars? And did it start with gas or did it start with diesel?
So I had always been interested in cars, mostly performance stuff, a lot of older stuff. My dad came home one day with a 1971 Chevelle Super Sport, and I was in awe of this thing. I had never seen something like that in person. I don't even know how old I was at the time. Definitely way before I could drive. And I was just amazed at this thing. He took me for a ride, blew the tires off the thing. It was a good
Yeah.
time.
And when you made
And
300 horsepower as a kid, it's just
right,
like, it's like, oh my gosh, you did a burnout. It doesn't even matter how fast it is.
yeah, and it was loud. It was just nasty, and that just pushed it a lot further for me. And then I was into that era car at that point, and um, just started getting into things like that. I bought and sold 2 cars before I could even drive. Just always into going fast, going off road, playing with stuff, just whatever I can get my hands on.
Yeah.
Cars, 4-wheelers, dirt bikes, didn't matter. Just anything like that caught my interest. Um,
Were you
so
always interested
then,
in power? Is it power? Like we always wanted to get something that was like faster and you could make it faster? Or did you just in general have interest in anything that you could like fix up and drive? Did you like have a knack for like buying something that's broken and like making it runnable? Or just all around everything with an engine, you just liked it?
I've always been mechanically inclined. Um, when I was a real little kid, my friends would like break their toys apart to kind of see what was inside, and I'd take mine apart and then I'd put them back together, and they'd just throw theirs away. And I don't know, I was always interested in how things worked. Um, and then I was always interested in power. Uh, that was always the thing, and that's more exciting, just having something that's loud and wild
A
and
little
powerful.
ridiculous.
And then,
Yeah.
and then once I got behind the wheel, um, that's all I wanted to do is everything that I saw, go off roading. And I grew up in the country, and we had mud bogs all the time, and just a whole bunch of people get together and take their big trucks out there and dunk them in the mud and just have fun. And so we got into that pretty heavy, and we'd build a bunch of trucks to do that. And I mean, we were young, so we were building them half-assed, and
Yeah.
they weren't that great, and they'd
Budget
break all,
builds.
but it was fun. um so
Do you
when I
find that
was
looking back now that it was more fun then than it is now? Like when like now that you have a good business going and you get to do a lot of cool builds, and it's like I know that part is fun, but do you look back like pretty fondly at the early days when like money was the problem and it was like let's just make stuff work and didn't get to just like shop for the expensive stuff. It was more like how are we just going to make this run and show up?
It's honestly no different, and it's no different for me when we were working on just a piece of shit, or working on a $80,000 truck. It's all the same to me, as long as it's fun, as long as all the guys I'm working on it with are we're bullshitting and having a good time, and just doing our thing, and laughing and figuring things out and trying new things. That's all that ever mattered. um and no, it's no different. We still go off roading. We still work on all our own stuff when we get a chance to. um we'll stay late and work on our own stuff after hours, and be there until 2 o'clock in the morning, and
Yeah.
just do whatever it
Yep.
takes.
I know looking back, like when I was a kid, not having any money to put into stuff, I think for me, it was definitely um, more exciting than when every $20 part you could buy uh, was like, it was every bit of it was exciting. You buy a can of spray paint to like paint the new bumper or whatever. Like that was like almost more exciting than being able to do, a whole lot bigger projects at this point. So it's cool to see that. It's cool to see that. It sounds like you haven't lost your passion at all.
Oh no, I don't think that's ever going to happen. This type of stuff isn't a job. It's a lifestyle for us, for everybody there. Everybody at the shop's into this kind of stuff. They don't go on vacations to the beach and all these random places. We just go and do truck stuff at different events.
Yeah.
That's we just don't have any desire to do much else.
Yeah, that's awesome. On vacation every day.
Yeah, I mean, every day is not amazing. You get some rough days here and there, but all in all, we're pretty excited about stuff on a regular basis, and we always like when somebody comes in and they're passionate about this stuff too, and they're looking to do something a little different, or you know just uh just looking for our advice on what to do on a big build. We really all really like performance there, and we like real big builds when we can do them. And thankfully, lately we've been able to do a lot more. A lot of people have been really, really into it, and a lot of compound turbo setups, and just people wanting to make real big power and kind of push it a little bit further. And they'll come in and real excited, and all about the project, and that gets us excited too. And
Yeah,
um,
I imagine.
yeah, and it's great. So um,
Yeah, I do want to talk more on that. What after like growing up, like childhood, being interested in everything with an engine, uh, you start driving, you are going to mud bogs, you're bringing your piece of shit. What did you do like when you got out of high school? Have you always been in automotive for work, or did that come later?
no, that came later. Actually, while I was in high school, um, I started going to school for the second half of the day at a technical school. So I'd go there, and I'd do some computer networking work there. So after a while of going to school there, I I got a co-op job where I would go and work at an internet service provider, and and that's what I would do for half the day. So I'd go to my regular high school, some math classes, some English classes, and then I'd drive to work, and then I'd do IT work there. And I pretty much did IT work for um, most of my life, and it was great. I made good money. I was able to fund my automotive passions,
Mm-hmm.
and build all my vehicles, and um, I could stay nice and clean during the day and go get dirty afterwards, and it was a good
Yeah.
time. Um, so I guess then, I've got a 1970 Cutlass 442. I've had it since I was a senior in high school, and
Wow.
that was always fun. I'd blow that thing up every year, and and then over the winter I'd build a new engine for it, or new trans for it, something like that. Do some more upgrades, and then I
Pretty
started getting
typical
into
when you have a cool car.
right, and then I got a truck on 44s when I was 22, and take that out and beat up on that all the time and keep improving on that. And then I got into Jeep Wranglers, and um, started putting those pretty heavy, and did a lot of mud racing with that. It was just on 35s, and I'd uh I'd take it out and do hill and hole events. It was basically like a little eighth mile mud race, and that was a good time. I'd launch that thing pretty hard and break that, and
Is that
rebuild
a
that.
side by side race? Like you got two like couple guys like in a pit that race together, or is it like a timed race?
It was a timed race, and for
Gotcha.
the most part, it it ended up being a if you can even finish race. So a lot of the time it would be that, and most people couldn't even make it all the way through. Um,
Nice.
so I actually used to watch that race when I was a kid, and I always wanted to do it, and like I had to do it, and I was so glad that I was able to finally get something all together and get out there and do that with everybody else, and met a lot of really cool people out there. And um, so then I had all these vehicles that I was taking out and beating the hell out of and blowing up. So I needed to tow rig. I had to find something. and I didn't really care what kind of diesel it was, but I knew I needed a diesel, and I was looking for something relatively cheap. I didn't want to spend a ton of money because I was pretty much just going to use it for a tow vehicle and maybe drive it in the winter type of thing. So
Don't tell me
um,
you picked a
so
7.3.
I picked a 7.3. Yeah, not
Hell
for
yeah.
any other reason um, other than it was a good price, and I went and looked at it, and it was in good shape. It ran and drove nice. It wasn't spotless by any means, but I picked up for $500 and I could just get in it and drive it. And it was bone stock. I bought it off the original owners. It was a late '99, and yeah, it had like 240,000 miles on it, and it just did what it was supposed to do, and it would pull a trailer. So
Hmm.
I told myself, okay, I'm just gonna put you know intake, exhaust, and tunes on it, and just tow with it. So I did that. And I I gained some good power from it. It was nice.
That's where it all starts.
That's where it all starts. And I had a couple of friends with diesels, so we'd be going somewhere and they'd start ripping on theirs, so I'd rip on mine, and it was a good time. It did pretty good, and they all had Cummins, and they talked a bunch of shit, and the 7.3 did okay. And after
What
that,
era was this? What year was this? Like,
this would be about 2012, 2013, right around there.
okay.
And after that, I ended up blowing my turbo apart. That died. And
Did you do a billet wheel?
no, no, I actually threw a 38R on there. I needed that thing back up and running right away, and I did a 38R and didn't change anything else, and it did okay. And then I smoked the trans. That was done. I killed that, and once I did that, I said, well, um, a transmission's going to be expensive no matter what, and BTS has a lifetime warranty, so I'm going to go ahead and get that, and then I don't have to worry about it anymore. And right after I
Second
ordered,
second best decision you ever made. Second
yeah,
only to buying a 7.3 first.
right. So then once I decided, okay, now I've got this trans that can take a beating, so I don't even have the trans yet, and I'm ordering uh, all sorts of fun stuff. So I decided on a set of 238 200s, um, full fuel system, regulated return, head studs, valve springs, push rods, all sorts of stuff. Ordered it all immediately, and got it all. Just collecting everything, got it all together, and we went over to my buddy's dad's shop and tore everything apart and pulled the engine and trans and did a bunch of work to it, put it all back together, got it in there, and it was a great time. It ripped. It did really great. And then we had a local dyno event, diesel dyno event, and we went to that, and I made 501 horsepower. And this
Yeah.
is probably like 2014, and I was pretty excited.
Probably, I mean, stacking up against like most dyno events that I've been to anyway, they've all been, I mean, especially from a 7.3, 500 horsepower, is pretty damn respectable. Like you get a lot of
Oh,
attention just with that.
I caught a lot of attention, and I mean it was close to the higher end of what everybody was making out there.
Hmm.
Uh, there were definitely some other people out there making some bigger power for sure, but that caught a lot of people's attention that I broke 500 with a 7.3.
Hmm.
And once it did, that pushed me more into wanting to do it bigger and make more power. And I had a couple of friends out there, and we were all pretty close to that 500 mark. And we kind of started having horsepower wars between us, and we'd do a little bit more. I'd tow it my setup, and it was too hot. It would do pretty good, but the GTs were just nasty.
Did you still have the
So
38R on it this whole time?
yeah, I still had the 38R. It was a
Oh wow, I can
smoky
imagine.
on a race tune,
Yeah,
but
I bet.
it lit instantly. I mean, you'd stand on it and it'd just blow the tires off. Um, so then I ordered a irate T4 kit and a 467.7, and I threw that on there, and I really liked that. That was a great setup.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's a 200% and a 467 is a pretty hard setup to beat for being
yeah,
simple.
that's it. Really is nice and straightforward. I liked it a lot. So I ran that for a while, and it did really, really good. And then I needed some more. So I got some dual H pops, and I got a set of used um, twin Terminator H pops, and I threw those on there, and that did real nice. So that full combo there was really good, and I ran that for a while just like that. I really didn't change anything else.
So at this point
And
in time, you've got a BTS, you've got a is it irate fuel system?
the fuel system was actually pieced together. I kind of pieced everything together myself,
Okay.
and just made it work. A lot of the stuff was driven diesel parts.
Okay.
So it was kind of like their pre-pump kit, their post-pump kit, and their regulated return. And then I was running a Walboro pump for a bit, and that held pressure. But then I started going through them quite a bit,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah,
was
they like
just
to die. They're cheap, but
yeah,
they die a lot.
yeah. So it just worked perfect, no problems. And then I'd go out there to start it one day, and it just nothing.
Yep.
So I was getting tired of swapping pumps, and then I just switched to a Fuel Lab 41401 and rocked that for a bit. And or you know what? No, I actually did an A1000 is what I did. And I actually still have that A1000 on my truck.
Hmm.
And that's been on there for about 5 years. And it
That's
still
pretty
does
good.
really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know they won't warranty them against diesel anymore, but it's still happy. So I was out at I drove up to the sand dunes one day with a bunch of buddies, and it's about a 3.5 hour drive. And I towed a trailer up there, all that stuff, put some sand paddles on it, and beat on it with some stand paddles for a bit. And truck shut off, and I checked the oil, and it was a milkshake.
Yeah.
So I cracked the block out there, and it would still run. It would still run just fine. You just had to pull the IPR out and clean the IPR, and change the oil, and it would run for a little bit. And so we ran it a little bit longer out there on the. Then it just got old. We weren't going to do it anymore. So once I popped that engine, I said, well, I guess I'm getting rods. So we did rods and a girdle, and we're in the middle of a build. And I keep looking at all these pictures of short trucks out there, regular cab short beds. And I'd been looking at them for a while, and I had to have one. I thought they were the coolest thing ever.
Yep.
And I finally found a good donor for it. I knew I wasn't going to find something spotless in a regular cab long bed, and I knew I had to have it real clean. So I just started looking at whatever I could find, and I found one with like 340,000 miles, in Ohio, like 4 hours away, that had the trans split in half and caught on fire, and it was just a mess. So we ended up driving down there and taking a look at that, and it was okay. It was solid everywhere it needed to be solid. Around the windshield, it was good. It was a black truck. I knew I was going black either way. And other than that, it was not the best. The rockers were gone. The cab corners were gone. The bed was gone. The fenders were gone. But I could see something in it. I knew I could do something with it. So I picked it. It ran fine. Picked it up for $1,300. Brought it back.
Perfect.
And just started stripping it down. And when that happened, we're cutting stuff off this thing, and they farmed corn, so there was all this ground up corn in there and cow shit, and these torches were like burning this stuff, and it had the worst stink you could ever come up with.
I
It
can
was,
imagine that'd be nasty.
yeah, we had to just stop and
This is just
leave.
a pure farm truck.
Yeah, it's just been a old 7.3 farm truck forever, and we changed its life. So we tore it all down and built an engine for it and got her all together and went bigger. We decided, well, 350 200s it is. Still wanted it drivable, still wanted a tow, so we kicked it up a notch and cut that truck in half and shortened it. And I was running a crew cab short bed before, and now it's shrunk down to a regular cab short bed. And we took like 1,400 pounds off of it, doing that, going from that crew cab short bed to a regular cab short bed. And
Did you
that made
notice a pretty big difference? And like, did it feel faster? Was it squirrely? Was it, what was your experience after doing the swap?
Oh yeah, it was a lot faster. I mean, you know what it's like when you've got 1,400 pounds in your bed.
Yeah.
You can feel it back there. It's pulling down a little bit. So yeah, it was a lot better. And I had already dealt with playing around with a lot of vehicles, shorter ones, longer ones, all that. And yeah, the shorter the vehicle is, the squirrelier it's going to be. You start kicking that sideways, and it's wanting to wag back and forth pretty quick. You get a crew cab out there, and you can kick that thing sideways, and you can ride that thing out sideways for a long time.
Yep.
You try doing that with a regular cab short bed, and she'll come around real quick on you.
Yeah.
But I like
That
that.
just adds the excitement.
Exactly. So
What fun is
yeah,
it to have a boring 600 horsepower 7.3?
right. So I was super excited about it. We got that together, and 3 days later, we're at a dyno event with it, with like 73 miles on it, and just beating it on the dyno, and it made 666 on the dyno. So
Hell yeah.
so that was a good time, and that was actually with a muffler. That was going through a muffler at the time. So we hadn't hood stacked it yet.
So at this point in time, you've got a single cab shorty, you've got a fuel system kind of home built with a driven diesel regular return, and an A1000. You've got full force 350 200s.
Yep.
Okay, so you got full force 350 200s. You've got a Terminator dual H pops. You still running the S467.
Yep.
And you made 666 on fuel.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Badass.
And she was a
what happened from there? Because you It's definitely not that same truck anymore.
No, no, it's not. So from there, I I drove it like that for a while. Um, we went to a lot of events, um, towed a lot of trucks with that. I mean, just a ton of trucks all over the place.
Were you towing
You
for
know,
events, or just towing? Like, is this after you started your shop, or?
yeah. After we started the shop, we'd have trucks we'd have to move. One day when we moved from one shop to the next, uh, I towed like 30 trucks in a day just back and forth. Um, we'd go and buy trucks all the time,
Yeah,
things we'd flip or parts trucks. We'd buy a lot of 7.3 parts trucks, um, all sorts of things like that. And or buddies, they'd buy trucks. We'd go out to Woodward and find some races out there, and then we'd go out on the expressway in Mexico, and we'd race out there, and
I
and people would.
remember. I remember you sending me a video a few years ago of you smoking a Viper on the highway. Was
Yep,
that legit? Did that actually happen?
that
Like, was he?
actually happened.
Did he know you were racing?
Yep, that actually happened. So
That's
um I,
awesome.
I I knew the guy. I knew the guy, and a couple friends and I went out there, and we were
To the
just
track.
out there with
Yeah,
yep, yeah, and we were
yeah.
out there having fun, and we were driving around, and one of my buddies said, "Oh, hey, uh Tim's out here," so we went and met up with the guy, with Tim. He had the Viper, and there was also a Corvette and something else that didn't even catch my attention. So that stuff was out there, and uh, we were just driving around having a good time. We got on the expressway, and um, we wanted to see what would happen, and we did 4 pulls. Um, Two of them I tried with just we were just going like 70 miles an hour, and we just jumped on it.
Hmm.
And when we did them that way, the Viper would pull on me first, and after the turbo light, fully light, I'd start pulling past them real good, um, and our speedos don't go so far, but
Yeah, yeah.
later he told me that I passed him at 140.
Holy
Um,
crap!
and then the other 2 pulls that we did, uh, I was uh, I was lugging it. I was boost launching it at 70, and when I would do that, uh, he wouldn't pull on me at all. We'd both take off and be right next to each other, and then I'd leave him real soon after that, and it would just keep pulling past him.
That's awesome. In a seven
And
three, in a shorty 7.3.
in a shorty 7.3, and I didn't even know that my friend was recording us,
Yeah.
and he got that one run from us, and it was pretty cool. I'm glad he caught that. It was a good time. And that guy very soon after that sold that Viper.
Yeah. Did you buy a 7.3 though?
No, he didn't. What does he drive now? I think he drives an F-150. Not very exciting.
Okay. We don't need to talk about Tim anymore. Tim's boring. Is this the same Tim that built your setup you have now?
No, no,
Okay. I
no,
was gonna say
Tim
I would
Miller.
almost feel bad for calling Tim boring in that case.
Oh yeah, no, no, the Tim Miller that built my kit. He yeah, he is not boring.
Yeah, that dude is a badass.
He's got some fun vehicles, and he's been doing a lot of fun stuff for a long time.
Yeah. All right. So you build this truck. You beat a Viper. This was what, a couple years ago, 3 years ago at this point?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. At this point in time, have you already started your shop, or is this when did you guys start Night Shift Diesel?
So we were kind of working, nights and weekends in wherever we could find a place, and we were
Hmm.
just kind of jumping around to places. My friend's dad's shop, we were doing it out of there for a while, and we found a little barn down some dirt road. We were doing it out of there, for a while. We both have, we'd all have day jobs, and we'd go there at night or on Saturdays or Sundays, and just work on people's stuff that we knew. And it was just some word of mouth stuff, just extra money, and we just liked working on stuff, and we liked working on our own stuff.
Hmm.
So we were doing that, and then we got a little 2 bay thing that we rented, and we were doing that out of there, and no name, just people knew who we were, and we were
Yeah,
just doing
just
it to the table,
helping buddies out and fixing their stuff, and
and we'd always talk about going bigger, and doing more, and all that kind of stuff. Everybody does that. It's
yep, yep, that's how it
everybody
always
wants
starts.
Yeah, everybody wants to own a shop and have a big garage and all that kind of stuff. It's a good time. And then I decided, well, I want to do it. I'm ready. So I kept pushing for it, and we're all like, well, yeah, we'll look around at shops, and we're looking at them, and we're having a hard time finding anything. And the shop we're in is just a little, 2 bay shop, and it's barely a 2 bay shop. You can barely fit 2 trucks in there, and so we ended up only having one in there with all the stuff we had, and we pull a truck in and work on it, and okay, here's the parts we need, and we pull it back out and pull another one in, and it was getting old, so we finally found a much bigger shop. We found a 3,600 square foot shop. It was pretty nice, and we moved in there and started Night Shift Diesel. And once we did that, it blew up really fast. So we grew much faster than I anticipated. Um, Word of mouth was huge. The only advertisement we ever had was, just saying, "Hey, we're a shop and we can work on that on Facebook posts
Yeah.
on different groups on Facebook, and then just word of mouth, no real advertisement or anything, and we were immediately swamped, and we have been ever since, and there's no outlook in sight that will ever not be swamped. We've just continuously added more mechanics, and grown to a larger shop. We're in a 10,000 square foot shop now, and
Wow, that is quite an accomplishment.
yeah, I thought it was gonna take a lot longer. I had all these plans of all these, advertisements we were gonna do, and advertise on the radio, and
And you're so busy,
local.
you don't need to have time for advertisements.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed about it, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe I wanted there to be more of a struggle to grow. I've always enjoyed the struggle. I think that's the best part about it. It's all great to be a big shop and get to do fun builds and all that stuff, but um,
The
it's
process is
yeah,
so worth it. Like
absolutely,
I, I think that's the case with anything. And honestly, I think it's anything good in life. Like you're going to get the most pleasure out of it with the process than you will with a finished product. I really believe that. Same thing with building any truck. Like, yeah, it's fun to drive a truck, when it's all said and done, but you're never done. Like it's boring if you just put all your money in and finish it, and it's like, well, now what? Like, what am I just gonna
exactly,
drive it? Like the process is definitely where a lot of the
absolutely.
enjoyment comes from.
Absolutely. And I've always liked builds, and researching things and figuring out what I wanted to do, and and then doing that, putting more into it and seeing how that does. I really like to see how it affects things. um, that's always exciting, you know uh, working on it and seeing what it does and seeing how much better it is, and then figuring out what you want to do next, and then next and next and next. And I've always had that problem where I don't have, there's no too much for me, there's no enough is enough. I always want more, and I've always
Mhm.
been addicted to power and all of that, and I'm gonna keep pushing until there's nowhere to go. So we'll see where that goes.
So are you at this point in time, you're full time in your shop, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. How was the transition? Like going like what was the transition like going from working a day job and nights and weekends and basically not sleeping to fix trucks on the side to managing like a fairly big shop at this point? Uh, was there a day where you just finally said, fuck it, I'll quit? Or was it kind of like long and like just the point where like, okay, I don't sleep anymore. Like I gotta do something different. What was that transition like for you?
So I got kind of lucky with that. So so I was, at the time, I was working for a college doing IT work for them, and the economy started getting much better.
Hmm.
And when the economy started getting better, less people started going to college, and they were laying off a lot of people, and they were leaving the IT department alone, and they were just laying off a lot of faculty, things like that. They were canceling programs and just kind of really scaling back. And then it got to a point where they said, okay, we're going to start cutting IT staff. And they came to me with a severance package, and they basically said, we'd like to buy you out of your contract. And
Like you're gonna pay me to leave to go work on diesels?
yeah, so they gave me $36,000, and and I
That's a
was
pretty good step away.
I was real happy about it. They were really confused. They're like, "You're okay, aren't? So you're okay with this?" Absolutely, because they had let a lot of people go already.
Hmm.
And I said, honestly, I've been bored here for a few years now, and it was time. I mean, I had been doing IT work for 21 years at that point,
Hmm.
and I was so over it. There just wasn't anything left in it for me. Uh, I just didn't want anything to do with it. And they said, "Well, do you have any questions?" I said, "Yeah, when do I get my check?" And they just laughed. They just laughed because nobody else had, everybody else was like, "No,
What am
what
I
am I
gonna
going to
do?
do?"
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were just, really hurt that that their place of business was letting them go. And, that was their family there and all that kind of stuff. And I was
So you've
just
had
like,
no regrets since.
no, not a bit, not a bit. It's been great. It's been great. So I left there with a smile on my face, and um, yeah, just it gave me the time and the push. Definitely, that gave me the push to go ahead and do it, and that goes a long way. I mean,
Yep.
a lot of people don't ever get that push. They're at their regular job that's super stable, making real good money, and that's hard to walk away from for a lot of people.
Yep.
But that's really hard to walk away from. And yeah, that kick in the ass was really nice.
Yeah, I think
And
that is a big struggle for a lot of people. Um, I think honestly, it's probably the case for everybody. You don't even know what you're capable of until you have to do it, and it's pretty incredible how innovative and how good you can get when you don't have another option. That's for sure.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. I've always been the kind of guy to go and hang out at people's shops and just work on stuff and bullshit, and that's always been a real good night for me. And it's nice to be able to have that. I wouldn't want it any different, that's for sure. I could have went back to a different IT job, or I had options, I had offers to partner up with friends that had other companies. Um, One was a roofing and siding company that I actually loaned a friend money to get going, and I considered I considered doing that, and the deal just wasn't right for me. And that would have been all right. I would have made great money there, all sorts of stuff, but it just wouldn't have been exciting. And I get to do this, and this is what I want to do. And I get to do this with friends, and we get to build this. It's a lot of fun. I've always been a builder, and I've always liked to start something and build on that thing and keep pushing it and making it better. And now I get to do this where it's pretty
Limitless.
much, yeah, infinitely scalable, um and it's a good time, and it's nice to be able to have friends that work there and have them be able to feed their families from it, and them be excited in the growth. I mean,
And you
that's
guys have done at this point. You've worked yourself into a pretty freaking cool position. I know a lot of shops. You know, you're doing brakes and ball joints and oil changes and an occasional turbo and like mild performance upgrades. And it looks like anyway, like for the most part, you guys are just slammed with just crazy builds. Like almost everything you do at this point is like full builds. Like if somebody wants to build a badass truck, they bring it to Night Shift Diesel. Is that right?
absolutely. In fact, most of the shops in Michigan,
Mm-hmm.
uh, they they don't want to do performance work. Um, some of them won't do any performance work at all. They want to do only stock things. Um, they're they're worried about warranting things and things failing and all that. They're more interested in making more money than making cool trucks.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't help it. I'll make a little bit less money to be able to do fun projects and get to have passionate interactions with like-minded people. I mean, it's amazing when people come in and we're all talking about a build and everybody's excited about it, and then the look on their face when they come to pick their truck up and
That's got to be
you know
like the most exciting part is just getting your right seat and so with somebody that just they drop off a stock truck and pick it back up and it's a 600, 700, 800 horsepower truck.
absolutely. And I mean, I can only build so many trucks for myself. You just can't spend 40 grand on 10 different trucks. I mean, it's just not something I can do. And doing this, um, I have the ability to build trucks every day and get to try some different combos. And some people have different um, different goals for their truck or different things that they want to do with it, and we get to tailor it to what they want to use it for, and every time it's a little bit different, and that's fun. That's exciting. I mean, who gets to build just badass trucks all day long and get paid for it? And
That's a pretty
you
cool
know
spot to be in.
yeah, I mean, it's great. It's exciting, and it's working. It's making money. It's allowing us to grow bigger. And yeah, I just I wouldn't have it any other way.
So let's take a step back real quick. So you get this truck, you built your shorty, you build your dream truck. Uh, I think everybody's probably gonna want to know. I'm gonna make the picture for this podcast of your engine bay. What the hell happened, and why is there so much piping under the hood, and what led to that?
So truck had been doing great. I had ran it for a long time like that. It was solid, just no problems. And one day I was just driving home, just I mean, literally around the corner from my house, and I blew a head gasket real bad. Um, a chunk of the head gasket flew out of the engine, and it also blew um, several freeze plugs out of the engine.
Holy
So
crap!
yeah, so it was angry. It was real angry. So I was able to coast into my driveway, so that was great. So I got it in there, and we towed it up to the shop the next day, and just pulled it apart, and um, we threw a head gasket in there. And after we threw the head gasket in there, we then realized that there was a freeze plug missing. So we pulled the engine and kind of went through it, um, and kind of got it back together and got the freeze plugs in there and all that. And then we found a crack, and that was about it at that point. Um, I knew I was going to need to go bigger at that point, because engines out, I kind of have to. Um, and then you know, my buddy Tim Miller, he was doing all these turbo kits out of our shop, and all sorts of fun stuff, and compound turbo kits and triple turbo kits on a lot of UCC trucks, and just had some nasty trucks around at the shop, and it just definitely had my attention, and wanted to build a kit that would still spool better than what I had, and also have more air on top. So I I knew I couldn't take away drivability. I wanted to still tow and all of that. So we decided to go triples. Um,
Of course, the logical decision.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't you? It's
Yeah.
7.3, and let's put 3 turbos on it. So we did that. We built the kit for it. He built the kit, and I helped him design, how we were going to do it, and what I liked and what I didn't like. And I told him, no matter what, it absolutely cannot be a big J that goes across the top of the radiator and into the turbo.
Yeah.
Cannot do that. And he said, good, because that's hideous. So We worked on a lot of designs, and he kind of stumbled over the the two pipes, right in the center, and then splitting around the fan shroud. So he ended up one of them, and said, "You know what? I think I can mirror image this and do another one on the other side." And it I said, "Yes, yes, 100%. Let's do that." And so we weren't even trying to do it that way. It just kind of happened, and it just looked badass. I liked it so much.
Oh, it looks incredible.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it looks amazing. I know it's mine, and I can only say so much being mine. But
Yeah.
if it was
You
anybody
paid for it.
else's,
You have to love it.
yeah. I mean, if it was anybody else's, I swear I'd be like, "Oh, that is so badass." I mean, it's really cool. It's yeah, it's definitely my favorite kit that he's ever built. And he's built some really cool ones that I've really, really liked. And you know, it's always been a good time, giving him a hand back there, and watching him work. I mean, it's the stuff he puts together is functional art. I mean, it's just amazing, and he does such a good job with it. I could never build turbo kits like that. I just don't have that talent.
Yep. That's probably one of the coolest things about being uh, working in the shop, like, is just getting to meet incredibly cool people that are like so talented at what they do.
Absolutely. I mean, you'd never get to meet people that are doing that kind of stuff or have that interaction with them, and if you weren't, working in a shop like that.
Yeah. Is he doing? Does he work with you guys a lot? Does he do a ton of your builds, like your turbo kits and stuff, or just
Yeah.
Power
So
Strokes, or you guys do Cummins too? Or
so he works at an aerospace company during the day, and
mm,
then he comes over to the shop at night. And um, at first, he was doing he was doing a lot of kits for people outside the state, and they'd ship the truck in, and he'd build their turbo kits, and then while the truck was there, they had a couple of other things they needed done. So we would do some of the work on that. They might need a fuel system, or maybe they have a trans shipped to us, and we'd throw that in for them, things like that. The guys would ask him, "Oh, can you also do this and this and this?" And he said, "Yeah, yeah, we can do that." And we would just do the work for him, and that was nice. That helped us grow too. And then we started getting a lot more local work, and we were able to keep him super busy with all the local stuff. So we uh, we do a lot of work on a lot of 6 liters also. Um, we've done some real big 6 liter builds that have dynoed over 1,000 horsepower. Um, Compound turbo 6 liters, several of those. Um, do a lot of been doing a lot of work on Cummins lately. We've got 4 Cummins truck builds right now. 2 6.7s that are getting full engines with second gen swaps on them. Then we've got a compound turbo 12 valve and a compound turbo 24 valve. Uh, and he's building the kits on all 4 of those.
wow,
So he'll do single second gen kits or compound turbo kits. Um, we've got another 6 liter there from northern Michigan that the guy tows with, and he wanted a smaller setup, but he wanted compounds. And he had previously had worked on it at another couple shops, and they put a mail order bolt on compound turbo kit on a 6.0. They threw that on for him, and the kit was MIG welded, and it had slag inside of it, and the slag broke off and destroyed the turbo's wheels, and it was a
Oh
mess. And
man.
the kit was all, booted together instead of V-banded and Vangens, and it just wasn't nice. It wasn't a good setup. And we, we talked to the customer and let him know, um, and he wasn't real happy about it. And we were doing some other work to the truck, and we took it out, and it blew a rocker apart. And we brought it back, and we talked to the customer, and he said, "Oh yeah, that rocker had failed 2 other times before." And I said, that's not good.
That might be a problem.
Yeah, there's definitely some interference going on inside that engine. And he said, "Oh, okay. None of the other shops seem to think it was a big deal." I said, okay, it's a big deal. And he said, "What do you think is happening?" And I said, "I'm pretty sure the valves are kissing the pistons." And he said, "So that's not good, right?" I said, "No, that's not good."
It's not
He
good.
said, "How do we find out?" I said, "I'd like to pull one of these. I'd like to pull this head off and see what we find." And it wasn't so good underneath. There was valve marks on 2 of the pistons on that side. Just the engine in general was a very dirty build. It only had 3,000 miles on it. It had a lot of wear on the cylinders. It was just kind of a mess. And we actually a piece of wire in there under the head. So just a super dirty build. And he paid a lot of money for it. A lot of money. They had a ton of hours on the build. And he said, "So what now?" I said, "You're gonna need a new engine. That's for sure." And I said, "Okay, all right."
Did he
I
already
said,
have like usable stuff at this point? Like he already had like rods and all that in it, or was it like you were having
so
to
it
do a
was,
full build?
yeah, it was stock rods. It was a pretty basic build.
Hmm.
Nothing great for sure. So we did a full build on it, and we put some nice Carrillo rods in there, and just built it from the ground up. Real clean build, real nice, all ringed heads. And he already had a set of 250-100 injectors,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't want to go real big. He just wanted it to be a real clean truck, real clean running truck. So we just did a real small compound setup on it. It's a 362 SXE and a 472 from forced induction. So it's a real tight little setup.
That thing has to
And
drive awesome.
I don't know yet. The engine's in there, and we're getting ready to have Timmy build the kit for it. So
Awesome.
that's gonna be going together extremely soon. And I'm
So
excited
if
to see
anybody
how
wants to
that
follow
goes.
that build, do you guys post about it anywhere on Facebook or anything?
Yeah, we sure do. So we we put things on our Facebook page, and then we also post on our Instagram page, and then I have a personal Instagram page. So um, our shop Instagram page is just Night Shift Diesel, and then
Night shift is one word, right?
yep,
Okay.
and then my Instagram page is Mario G 7.3. So we do a lot of little stuff on there, and now that it's getting nice out, and A ton of builds are finishing up right now. There's
Perfect
going to be,
timing for summer.
oh yeah, and there's going to be a lot of racing videos all over all of that. A lot of burnout videos, a lot of donuts. We like doing donuts. That's a good time. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff out there. Hopefully, with everything that's going on, we're still going to be able to get to some events this year. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Well, if it doesn't happen, there's always other ways.
Always, always.
There's always other ways.
It will find
Um,
a way.
Man, I really like talking to you. You're probably one of the most inspiring people that I get to talk to. Um, I do have one more question for you, though. This is
Yeah.
a serious question. Do you daily drive your 7.3, your triple turbo 7.3?
Yes. Normally, I daily drive it. Right now, it's pulled apart for a bed plate. So we're putting a bed plate on the 7.3.
You were just
It
running a girdle before?
was just a girdle before, and it did well for a long time, and I want to push it real hard, and see how she does. So it's at the machine shop, getting cut up right now for this girdle or this bed plate, and we should have that back real soon to be able to put it all back together, and yeah, daily driven, uh, tow with it, you name it. It's it's been driven all the way from Michigan to Tennessee with triple turbos.
You should summarize that whole thing real quick because that was actually pretty cool.
So so last year they made the 7.3 Jamboree public, and anybody with a 7.3 could go. So
Where was that at in Tennessee? I can't even remember the name of the town.
that was in Murfrees. Well, it was in a couple of different places. So
Yeah,
yeah, so they had
it was at Beans Diesel. Was where the main event was.
yep. So we were over at Beans, which Beans Diesel's great. You know, they invited us in and they were real accommodating, and it was a cool shop, and their dyno room was awesome.
And the
So
equipment, oh my god, they build some really cool shit.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, Beans has always been a real cool name in the diesel industry. So
Yeah.
um, so we actually got the truck all together, and we actually left the day that the event started. So we're leaving Michigan while the event's going on in Tennessee. And
Having just built a triple turbo kit and building an engine, because you had
yep,
just put that engine together. I remember you sending me pictures. I think I was like hopping on an airplane to fly down there, and you were sending me pictures of the pistons you just got back from getting coated. And I was like,
absolutely,
uh, what? Like, how, you're never going to make it.
yep. So we did that, and while that was going on, my buddy's truck, uh, he's four-wheel drive swapping it at the same time. So he's got a 7.3 that he's throwing together, you know, that he's got built up, and it was just rear wheel drive, and you know, we're getting ready to go down there, and he's four-wheel drive swapping it,
Of
and
course.
we're putting the triple turbo kit on, and we're up all night long, and just killing ourselves to get this stuff done so we can get down there, because we sponsored the event too, just like you did, and you know, we were super excited about it. You know,
Yeah.
this is the event, you know,
Well,
this is
yeah, at
the
this point, you can't just not show up.
right. And we, you know, we talked a bunch of shit. Yeah, we'll be there, absolutely, doesn't matter. And here we are, you know, the event's down there just getting started, and we're still finishing it up, and we're like, all right, we got it, we're good. and
So basically, you fired up the truck and just drove to Tennessee.
and we drove straight through from Michigan to Tennessee. Got down there on the second day, and and we just parked and went and watched some of the dynos, and went and talked to everybody, and a couple people that knew that we were coming down, and ate some food down there, and it was hot down there. It was a good time. I like that heat, so we were excited, and had a real
Yeah,
good ride down.
I almost died in that heat. That was crazy.
We on the drive down, we ran into a nice built Mustang along the way, and we were playing on the expressway a little bit, and
Did you beat him?
you know we were side by side, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna back out of this.
It's probably a good idea on a fresh build.
I'm in Kentucky, and I'd like to make it to Tennessee and actually make it to this event, and I don't know what's gonna happen. So
Choice.
yeah, so I did that, and we got down there to I looked it up. It's Woodbury, Tennessee, and
That's what it was. Yeah.
we get down there and just start talking to a couple people, and I actually went and this felt really good. So I went and sat in the dyno room, the room next to the dyno there, and I'm just sitting there and drinking a pop and just watching the trucks get dynoed. And there's some people in the room, and they're just talking about whatever, the truck that's being dynoed, some of the other trucks out there, um, and they said, "Oh yeah, truck made good power in there," and they're like, "Yeah, I can't wait to see what that triple turbo truck's gonna do." And they started talking about it, and that
Yeah.
gave me a huge head. Right
And
then,
you're
I just
like,
had a
okay, huge
smile on
head.
my
You're
face.
the most humble dude I've ever met. Huge. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I'll tell you what, it was the best feeling ever to hear something like that. To walk into somewhere and have somebody talk about your truck,
Mm-hmm.
what could be better, And
Nobody knows
I
who you are, but your truck is well known.
right, yeah, they had no idea that I was sitting right there, not a clue, and it was just a really cool experience to have, and I'm so glad I was in there when they said that, and it was just really cool. It literally made my day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I didn't say a word, nothing about it at all, and just listened. And after a little bit, I was talking to some of the guys in there, still didn't say anything about it, and kind of walked around some more, talked to some more people, and a couple people knew who I was, and they're like, "Hey, let me see your truck," and went over there and showed our trucks off and things like that, um, and then nobody, the dyno kind of slowed down a bit, and so I pulled over there um, and put her on the dyno, and the dyno operator's like, "Oh yeah, so tell me a little bit about your truck," and
Yeah.
uh,
Tell me
I
the short
start telling
story.
him, yeah, I start telling him about it a little bit, and I said, "Triple turbos," and he said, uh, "Excuse me, what?" And I said, "It has
Did
triple
you not know
turbos."
this is a 7.3 event?
Yeah, and he's like, "Can you pop the hood? I'd like to see that." And when I popped the hood, 30 people rushed the truck, and I tell you, that was a powerful moment.
Yeah. It was all
Uh,
worth it.
yeah, just
All the
everybody
way
rushed it.
back to cutting out cab corners and smelling cow shit. It was worth
It
it.
was exactly. It was the best. It was amazing, and yeah, it was a really good time. I had the dirtiest smile on my face when that happened.
I bet.
Um, yeah, it just felt good. It just felt really good, you know, to um, just to create something like that everybody was super pumped to see.
And at this point, it doesn't even matter if it makes power. It's like,
No,
it was
like
just cool.
that's it, you know, like it's an amazing weekend already. You know, I got to go on a road trip and you know, and talk to a bunch of people in person that I talk to online on a regular basis. You know, got to meet you down there, and got to meet Matt Mayer and everybody else in person. It was just a good time, you know, um, and then all of this, everybody excited about my truck, and um, you know, that's one of the best compliments you can ever get is somebody being, you know, all amped up about your truck. I mean, that's big, you know.
There's
That's
nothing better.
that's any car guy's thing, you know. That's amazing. And
Do you find it more fun when people like when they don't know that it's your truck and you just get to overhear them, like you said earlier,
oh,
like
absolutely.
then if somebody's asking you specifically because they know it's your truck, like
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
yeah,
that's the best thing ever.
because it feels
Because
real. Like man,
oh,
like
it's
this is so fucking cool.
right. Yeah, because it is real, and it's not just somebody saying things because they're trying to be nice or they know it's yours or anything like that. To hear
Mhm.
real stuff about it is great. You know, even if I'd rather have that and hear, like, you know, one negative thing about it and one positive thing than to hear, you know, somebody talk to my face and say it. You know,
Mhm.
it's nice to really hear, you know, that. Plus, you know, anybody to be passionate about the same thing I'm passionate about is great. You know, I'm all about that.
Mhm.
So yeah, that is a super good feeling. I've always liked that, and you know, and it's definitely happened over time and things like that. And I mean, just literally just today, I was at another buddy's shop and um, picking up a part, and and he had a friend there, and that guy wasn't real big into the 7.3 thing, and he had no idea who I was or anything like that at all. And um, he was just kind of asking me some questions about my truck, and he's like, what turbo do you have on that? And I said
Which
four,
turbos,
yeah,
but
I said
anyway.
a 4294R and two S366 SXEs. And he said, oh, triples? And I said, yeah. And he just looked at me like, what? And
Who the fuck would put triples on a 7.3?
yeah, and my buddy just started talking about it, and he's like, holy shit. So it was definitely cool, you know, to get a response like that out of somebody. um Stuff like that, that just, it makes your day, you know. It's fun. It's the lifestyle, you know.
Mhm.
I mean, it's hard to have anything better than you know, compliments or, you know, surprising people with something you've done or anything like that. Just feels good.
Okay, you're literally killing people right now. What did it make for power on the dyno?
So it made 784.8 rear wheel horsepower on fuel.
Boom. On
Yep.
fuel.
Boom. Yep. And I was real happy to hit that number. I wanted.
And and mind you, like everyone listening, this is not like this hasn't even been like tuned for this setup. Like nothing has changed. I think we sent you a tune for that truck back when you had like just an S468 on it, like
That.
a
Yep.
year, 2 years before. Like it was a while ago.
It was a while ago.
And
Yeah.
I wasn't there for the dyno event itself. I missed when you dynoed your truck somehow.
Yep.
Um, and I was like, I was all excited because we were gonna live tune that thing when it was down there,
Yeah.
and hopefully even before you threw it up there, but yeah, that's freaking crazy.
Yeah. It came.
784 horsepower, right?
Yep. 784.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I was super happy. You know, a lot of people asked me what I thought it would make, and you know, I said I don't know, 725. I'd be happy with 725. And
That's pretty damn good on a 7.3. I mean, it's rare to see a 7.3 make more than like 650 on fuel. Like
oh,
really rare.
absolutely,
It doesn't happen.
absolutely. No, it's very rare to do anything like that. It just it's tough to make power with a 7.3 above, you know, I mean, really 550 is pretty easy. You know, that's relatively easy anywhere in there. And then 600s, you know, takes a little bit more. It's more so it takes a little more to hold it together.
Mm-hmm.
And then really there's very few people that have made over 700. I mean,
You're on a very short list.
very, very short list. And usually if you're making over 700, you've got a pretty big single on there. And
It's not a towing driving setup. And
right.
you have you towed with this setup since you did triples on it? Like have you actually like hooked to a trailer and towed with it before?
Yeah, it does better than the 468.
Yeah. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's honestly it spools so much nicer. You know, the 468 when you're on the expressway and, you know, sitting there with, you know, little to no boost and you just stomp on it, you know, there's a little delay before she lights. And with the triples, there is no delay. It just lights right then immediately. And that's my favorite part about it. Um, I really like things to light quickly, and that really does light quickly. That's the fastest lighting 7.3 I've ever been in by far,
And just keeps pulling.
and just keeps pulling. Yeah, it does. So um, after we get her all back together, I'm still gonna run her with the 350-200s for a bit. I want to push those injectors as far as they can go. I want to spray them
You
a bunch,
definitely need
see what
some
we can
20.
hit with them, see how
Yeah.
nasty she'll do. And then after I've gotten the most out of the 350-200s, I'm gonna go a little bigger and do something like some 450-400s, something like that, and see what we can do with that. And
I'm almost sad to see that. I think you're going to lose enough drivability. Like it might make a little more power, but I don't know.
I don't know. I need to
I'm
find
curious
out.
to see.
Yeah, I need to find out and see what it's gonna do. Um,
The problem is, like you said, you love building. Then
right,
what? There's nothing
right.
left to do.
Yeah,
There's no more fuel. There's no more air. Like
right. That's the problem. So I kind of have to try it no matter what. And I'm not gonna sell my 350-200s. I'm gonna pull those out and box those up and try the big ones, and we'll see what it does.
mm-hmm.
And if it's amazing, then okay, yeah, we're gonna keep that. And if it takes away some drivability or anything like that at all, you know, we're gonna go out there and have a little fun with it and make some numbers and you know, do some good testing with them and see what happens. And you know, if I'm not feeling them, then we're gonna pull those out and throw the 350-200s back in, and you know, and then somebody's gonna get a real good deal on some slightly used injectors that made some very big power.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to do some 1023 live tunes this year for sure.
Yeah, I need to make it down there. I
Yep.
I don't care about COVID. Whatever. It is what it is. As
Yep.
long as I'm allowed to fly in an airplane, I'm going to come down there this summer at some point.
Absolutely. I actually looked today, and think it's only a 56-hour drive for me to get to Alaska. So I don't know. We'll see. That might happen too.
I don't know what you mean by only, but that's a lot of driving.
It'd be cool though, wouldn't it? I think people would follow that road trip.
It would be an interesting adventure.
Absolutely.
Well, when you get here, we've got a pretty nice place for you to stay.
Good, because I'm sure I'll need a good nap.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on for this, and it was really cool to hear your story. I think a lot of people are going to like it. Um, you touched on it a little bit earlier, but basically, you can be found on Instagram at Night Shift Diesel on Instagram, Night Shift Diesel on Facebook, and what's your personal Facebook or your personal Instagram?
It's Mario G 7.3.
Okay. And where are you guys located?
We're in Lapeer, Michigan.
Lapeer, Michigan. So basically, if you have a diesel and you want to do anything to it, especially if you want to do anything above the norm, go to Lapeer, Michigan, look up Night Shift Diesel, and they'll build you anything you want.
Absolutely. Bring us something wild.
If it's not wild, will you reject them?
As long as they want to do it right, we'll take it on. If they're looking to half-ass it, we'll send them away. We've done it before. We're putting our name on these builds. I'm not going to build something that's not going to work right, that is going to make us look bad, that's going to fail and just be a mess. That's not what we're trying to build here. I've got no problem building something that somebody's going to daily drive, or somebody's going to take just to events or anything like that. All that's great. I don't mind a purpose-built vehicle, whatever people want. But, if somebody just wants to throw some junk together that's not going to work right, that they can take that to another shop, because we're not just looking to make money. We're looking to build cool trucks.